What is up, fuckers? Terry here from Blunt Trips, coming to you from the 400 block of Havana Street here in Aurora, Colorado. And the reason I'm bringing you here today is because back in 1986, this used to be a pretty popular club. A club by the name of ShagNastys. This club had ties to two different deaths within a 3-week period during the summer of 1986. It started with, first, 18-year-old Donna Sue Wayne. She was partying at this club. It was the last place she was seen alive. They found her new body not far from here, perched up against a tree with her legs spread wide open. That crime's still unsolved. It could have even been the work of a serial killer that was killing between 1975 and 1985 on this route. There was several other cases very similar to this one. But again, the first one to disappear in July of 1986, I believe it was July 14th, was Donna Sue Wayne. An unsolved crime here in Colorado. But then 3 weeks later, there was another death that had ties to this place. A guy named Julian Domenico was last known to be partying in this club in August, about 3 weeks after Donna disappeared. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you both their stories. And we're going to go ahead and start with Julian Domenico's, because his case is solved, even though he was the second one to die with ties to this club, ShagNastys. That's what it was back in 1986. It was another club after that, if I'm not mistaken, or prior to that. And then it became a Mexican restaurant. I don't know any other history to it other than those three. I do have a very reliable source that kind of gave me a background on this place. And like I said, I do know that it was at least two clubs prior to being a Mexican restaurant and then being shut down. It looks like they are doing construction right next to it. But back in 1986, this was a very popular club. A lot of drugs and partying. That doesn't make these victims any less valuable to life, because everybody has their demons. And if you lived in 1986, partying was probably your demon. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this location. Again, this used to be ShagNastys in the summer of 1986, where in July, I believe it was the 14th of 1986, Donna Sue Wayne was last seen leaving this place. She was 18 years old. She was later found naked up against a tree, murdered. That is an unsolved crime. I will get to her story in the second part of this. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and head to the graveyard and tell you Julian Domenico's story. And from what I heard, he was a really great guy. So let's get going.
me your flawless eyes, and now I'm wasting all my time on guys like you. So you thought that I'd learn by now, but it's a 4-year-old kid still talking. But were we still talking about that? I guess it's much easier for you. Why is it so much easier for you?
What is up, fuckers? Terry here from Blunt Trips, coming to you from Fairmont Cemetery in Denver, Colorado. And I am coming to you today to the cemetery to tell you the story of Julian Domenico. We are going to go find his grave, and I'm going to tell you what happened to Julian. So Julian was actually the second victim tied to the club that I just showed you, ShagNastys. Now Julian was actually known to be at another location after there, but the night of his murder started at ShagNastys. So apparently, when the bar closed down, Julian and some people went ahead and headed over to Julian's apartment. Julian was known to sleep with a machete by his side when he slept at night by his bed. Julian didn't know that night that machete would be used to kill him in his bed. This is the grave of Julian Domenico. Julian was murdered on August 3rd, 1986. As I said, after he left the club. His murder was just recently found, back in 2019. At least the Aurora Police Department is satisfied that they found their killer. It was around that time that they flew to Pennsylvania to interview John Edward Stratt in an unrelated murder that I told you about that also took place at ShagNastys, the murder of Donna Sue Wayne. Well, Mr. Stratt had nothing to do with Donna Sue Wayne's murder. That's still unsolved. But his blood came back a match for Julian Domenico. When asked about living in Colorado at first, John Stratt denied even living here. But apparently he had forgot that he had a DUI in a Cadillac that he was tried and convicted for. And when asked about it, then all of a sudden he remembered living in Colorado. John Stratt ended up committing suicide that summer. About 6 weeks after he was notified that his blood matched the DNA for the murder of Julian Domenico. Although John Stratt was never actually found guilty for the murder of Julian Domenico, Aurora Police Department closed the case satisfied that he was the murderer. Now, I actually had heard some stories about Julian, and it kind of put a person behind the name. This guy was famous for bringing flowers on Valentine's Day to ShagNastys. He was notorious for it. Uh-oh, and I gotta get moving. Be my luck, the sprinklers just started. So let me go on and move over here a little bit. He was notorious for bringing, oh, I just missed that water. He was notorious for bringing flowers on Valentine's Day, as I said. And buying all the ladies drinks. He was apparently a real ladies man. Let me run back over here, point at his grave real quick. Just enough to cool down because it is hot out here today in Aurora and Denver. But anyways, that's the story of Julian Domenico and why he's here today. Yeah, he partied back in the 80s. Who didn't? Yeah, he was a ladies' man. Thank you. They're good. That was cool. He was checking to see if I wanted the water off. Anyways, he was a ladies' man, a partier. But above that, he was a person. All right, I'm going to go on and get out of this section because there's sprinklers kicking on everywhere. Anyways, my name is Terry. You were watching Blunt Trips, and I am getting the fuck on out of here. Y'all stay cool, fuckers.